Hello, everybody, and welcome to the James Johnston Football Channel. I'm here live for the first time. It's a trial by error, but hopefully we'll get there in the end. And I've got some great guests to come on here tonight as well. So let's get this cracking. Hello, everybody. Welcome again. And joining me this evening. At school, I was told I would never achieve top marks. Well, I say to everybody at Molsham High School, if you are watching, I have got top marks tonight. It's Mevlyn Marks. Mevlyn,
good evening, James. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for this. I'm, honoured to be on your first programme. Absolutely honoured, mate.
Thank you very much. No, it's a pleasure to have you here. And I've also got two very good friends of mine also. I'll go to the man on the bottom right first. He is the host of Arsenal Above All. He is also a regular on Purely Arsenal FP when permitted to. It is Michael Harris. Michael, how are you, my friend?
How you doing, man? Good to be here. Like Melvin, honoured to be on your first show. Your sort of reboot. It's like Batman Begins again, or Christopher Nolan somewhere in the background doing this, isn't he? So no, it's great to be on there, and great to see Melvin and Neil again.
Yeah, I was going to say the intro. I wanted to have the basically a carbon copy of The Sopranos with me going through the toll booth and everything else like Gandolfini, but yeah, the money for actually buying the streaming service and everything else took up most of the budget. So you'll have to wait for that one. But yes, last but no means least, joining me is the man, one of the greatest men to ever live in terms of Arsenal Twitter and just Arsenal in general. It's Neil Shah. Neil. How are you?
Being here. Thank you for having me on, and such esteemed company. Oh my God, this is like royalty for me. I'm in awe.
Yeah, this is the peak. The first show. It doesn't get better than this.
This is like when that guy was in awe when he interviewed Wenger in that charity, the Ukraine match for Ukraine, and he was like, "Oh my God, he's looking at me." I feel like that today.
Oh, thank you guys so much. Well, let's talk about Saturday's game first and foremost. Got two people here, luckily, that were there. We're going to speak about new signings, but let's talk about an off-field new signing, our new ticketing system. Melvin, for yourself, how hard was it for you to get in to the ground for kickoff?
What made it worse for me, I was meeting someone. I had a spare ticket for someone. So I was meeting them cleverly. I'm a clever guy because 12:30 kickoff, first game of the season, new ticketing. So you want to be there nice and early, a couple of hours before the game. So I met him at 12 o'clock instead of meeting him really early. Stupid, Melvin. Schoolboy error, I know. Should know better. Anyway, by 12 o'clock had come. I couldn't see him because by that time it was mobbed. And I looked behind, I thought I'd get to the back of the queue for my block. And I turned around and thought, where does it end or where does it start? I just could not tell. So I thought, what I'll do, I'll try and get to the back. And when I see him, I can just say to him, right, get on the end with me. Because otherwise he'd be further behind. Well, when I wasn't walking, you're just moving about an inch every few seconds. And I said to someone after about 10 minutes, is this I'm block H? Is this block H? No, block G. I said, where's block H? She goes, well, round about here somewhere. So I just thought, anyway, I phoned him up. We met each other just about. And then we decided to go around the back to block C because it couldn't be any worse to where we were because we were in between two blocks. We were never going to move. And by the time we got round there, we went on the back of a proper queue. It looked like a proper queue. You could tell the start and the finish. And I think by that time, the ground had probably started to fill up anyway. I think it might have started to work because we got on within about 5-10 minutes. So it was a bit of heartbreak at first. Lost a few stone in weight, sweating. But after that, yeah, got in. And then we're excited for the game, obviously.
Yeah. What about yourself, Neil? How hard was it for yourself?
Yeah, equally as horrible. I was fearing another Hillsborough because it was at one point people started pushing and you thought, are we going to have a crushing moment? Because I just couldn't understand why Arsenal couldn't have trafficked the people better when they realised there was an issue. i.e. stopping people from, maybe at the entrance of the bridge before they even walked over the bridge, because they knew by that time, hopefully, that the kickoff was going to be delayed. But we just, more and more people were coming. And like Melvyn said, you didn't even know where the queue started. But I had to ask so many people, are you queuing for this block or not? Or where is it? Where do we go? And everyone said, we don't know. And the tannoying system is absolutely rubbish. I mean, a multi-million-pound complex stadium, and they came up with the information that the kickoff had been delayed, and everyone was saying, what did they say? And everyone was asking each other, and then the people nearest to the tannoy, the actual speaker of it, would say, I think it's 1 o'clock. And then I think we confirmed on Twitter, because I was luckily still able to get some reception on my phone with Twitter and WhatsApp and stuff. So it was horrendous. It should never happen again, and I don't know why it wasn't field tested a lot more before they decided to do it on the first day of the season. They'll always say that they tested it, but not in numbers. I don't think there's no way they would have been able to. But we've got an apology email. Did you get that, Melvyn?
I got that today.
Yeah.
And did you guys get credits at all for? Because I know they said something about they were going to add it to your credits, weren't they?
I don't think so. That won't happen.
Really? Wow. Okay. And you didn't get any extra voucher for anything, for any inconvenient? Not
what
that you're both are big drinkers anyway. But did you get? Did they offer you? Did they offer you a warm beer or a hot dog that takes 4 hours to make? No.
If it would have been for everybody, James, if it would have been for everybody, I can understand making that argument. But some people got in no problem at all. I think if people got in about 11:45, they just went straight in. So how do you balance it up? I mean, at the end of the day, we all got in. It wasn't great, as Neil said. We all got in. We watched the game of football. Let's go home, and hopefully they got it sorted. If it happens again, then I think there will be problems.
Yeah, and Michael, just from your expertise, obviously with the stewarding side of things, did you get anything from your friends about how difficult it was? Because I felt quite sorry for them. I mean, there was the one guy that was the photo. I'm not going to put the photo on here, but there was one photo that was shared of obviously someone with injuries, and I haven't seen any further update on them. Hopefully they're all good. But yeah, what was it? What was it like from the steward's perspective, from people that you know that you used to work with, etc.?
From what I heard, is pretty much the same. It was pretty chaotic. There were people just kicking off with certain people, putting them in a little bit of a precarious situation because they weren't getting relayed some information. There seemed to be miscommunication or lack of communication from above. So it was just a bit of a mess. And touching on what Neil said, I believe they improved the PA system recently. So obviously, if it's not working, they've got to spend a bit more money on it. I know they've tried. They've redone the screens. The screens, they put in some brand new screens. But yeah, the PA system was always bad when I was working there, and to try to improve it. But it's something that they need. It can't happen again. It's like Melvyn said, it can't happen again, and they've got time to sort of fix it. And they need to make sure they fix it before the Champions League, because I don't think UEFA will look too kindly on any sort of situation like that, any sort of delay of game or whatever. They'll get punished quite severely for stuff like that. So let's hope they sort it out.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the away fans are fine, haven't they? They've still got the paper tickets, and obviously, I think people with families, the kiddies, have to have paper tickets because obviously they've not got mobiles to scan an app with. But I don't know why everybody else couldn't still have their cards, or I don't know if it's a carbon footprint thing, or however. My argument to that would be, if you've bought the ticket and you've got a printer at home or you've got one at work and you want to do it that way, why are you not allowed to do it that way anymore? To me, it just doesn't make sense. But there we go. Onto the game, onto the better stuff. The lineup. I know, Neil, you don't like these questions. I'll leave it to just a simple yes or no. You don't have to go into detail. We won't talk the tactical side of it. But when that lineup come out, Neil, was you happy with it? Obviously, all the three new boys are in there. It's the first time in 73 league games, that there was no Gabriel. You're a big Trossard man, as am I. There was no Trossard in there. So, yes or no, was you happy? Was you unhappy?
Well, I thought you were joking when you WhatsApp me, say you're going to go to me for the lineup question.
Oh, I have to, Neil. I have to. It's me.
Unbelievable. I thought he was joking, lads. No, I will say something. It won't be. I can't do yes or no, James. Come on. I talk for England as to people's detriment. No, I mean, yes, I was upset about Trossard. I just think he should get more minutes. I feel that if it carries on like this for the rest of the season, I can see him wanting to go out, leave the club, which would be devastating for me. But it is what it is. Gabriel, omission. I thought that was an injury. I didn't realise it was tactical. So when I found out it was tactical, I found that a bit, okay, he's experimenting a little bit here. I hope it's nothing to do with the fact that there was some kind of links or rumours to him maybe moving across the water to the rich man's place, but I hope that's not the case. And then obviously, Partey at right back. I thought, what is going on here? I thought if it was going to experiment, surely he would have done that in the pre-season games, but not the first game of the season. I mean, at the end of the day, as it panned out, Partey didn't have too bad a game. I thought he played quite well, but I just thought, wow, that's a lot of change for the first day of the season, really. And at that point, you know, we were relatively injury free, so I didn't understand why the need or the necessity to do all of that. But you know, at the end of the day, all being said and done, it worked out for us. So academically, it's fine. But you know, at the end of the day, I'm not so sure he should be doing that first game of the season. But you know, I'm not the manager. But I was kind of 50-50 about the lineup, James.
Yeah, no, and he spoke in pre-season, didn't he? That unlike last season, where he had that set first 11, and then when that first 11 had to be broken up due to the injuries, he never had the option. He had to play, which was a necessity, not which was what he wanted tactically. And he alluded to now that he's got the strength and the depth to do things tactically, which he believes is his vision for this side going forward. And I hope it's not going to be a la, you know, what Benitez or what Claudio Ranieri used to do when he was at Chelsea. I hope it's more, you know, everyone goes on about the Invincibles. That season, the main 11 that we all, you know, love, and they only played together twice. And Neil, I know you always think we're going to go, you know, we're going to go Invincible quad. So hopefully, if it does chop and change, we could have another season like a la the Invincibles. But Melvyn, what about yourself? What did you think of the lineup when you were there?
Well, I think 11:30 it came out, didn't it? Now before, I just phoned straight away. I phoned my optician up to make sure nothing's wrong with my eyes. Made an appointment for next Monday morning. I couldn't believe it because he's taken the best pairing of centre halves we've had for the last 10, 15 years. Not only did that, he took a midfielder out the midfield and played him at right back. He took our right back and put him centre half, which, yeah, he can play centre half. We bought him as a centre half, but he hasn't played there for donkey's years, right? He moved the whole team around because he made one tactical error. Tactical change. I couldn't understand, even if he only made one change. If he took Gabriel out and put Kuor in at the left side, even if he did that, where's the tactical change? I just couldn't see it. So for me, I couldn't work it out. Honestly, I just could not work out what he was doing. But at the end of the day, I suppose you say we got the 3 points. I say in spite of that.
Yeah, and yourself, Michael?
Yeah, I think you touched on it before, James. Last season we were too predictable. I think we all said that. We knew what the lineup was going to be. We knew what the what the two centre back pairings were going to be and what have you. Obviously, it ravelled at the end of the season. But I think the fact that he did these changes. I mean, thinking about it, he obviously knew that we were going to absolutely dominate possession because of who we were up against. I don't think he would have probably done this against a side maybe like Brighton, let's say, for example, because we saw what happened last season when we played against them and how clever they are with the ball and manipulating, getting people out and playing around them. I think because he knew Forest were going to literally do what they did, which was sit back and try and counter, which they didn't really until, you know, things unravelled slightly at the end. It was a strange formation, but he did put Partey at right back against Forest last season when we played Forest last season. And I think the difference, I think he did he play Kivior as a left back, or did he play? I can't remember if Holding played in that game at City Ground, and Kivior played on the left as well. So he did it before where he played, you know, Partey as a inverted right back. But when you look at it, he played pretty much centre midfield most of the game, and then that allowed Ben White to play in a back three. So it was quite adventurous, and you think they've never played, you know, these players have never played like that before. So it was a little bit of a risk, but I think he basically felt confident that the players were able to execute, and they did. To be fair, the only thing is that we just didn't score more goals in that situation. we had to score 3 and 4. Like he said in the press conference today, we had to go out and score those extra goals, and we didn't do it. And that's why we were hanging on a little bit at the end. But no, I don't think he'll do that against certain better teams. We'll see this again against the teams that are struggling, and that he knows that will set up in that way, that will just sit back and try and do something on the counter.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you there. So going into the game as well, very early on, I thought we had very, very good, domination of the ball. It was about 90 to 10% possession before their first chance, which fell to Brennan Johnson. And that, for me, I just thought the line was a bit too high. We got caught on the second phase. We were trying to play up. They headed it out. And then straight away, Brennan Johnson's got Saliba too high up, and he's in a foot race with Ben White. And as much as I respect Ben White and everything, I think he's been a great player for us, even at centre-back and at right-back. He's going to lose that foot race. And I just, he should have tucked that in for me, Brennan Johnson. But our first goal, let's get into it. It's lovely work by Martinelli. He's in a central area. He then drifts out left. He beats 2 people. Then he does his spin that beats the same 2 people that he's beat already. So he's humiliated them twice within a space of a couple of minutes. Some have said that it flukily or luckily fell to Eddie Nketiah. I think it was planned. And Nketiah, for me, when he gets it, he takes it on. He does very well. It's a deflected finish, but it's 1-0 to us. I'll go to you first, Mike. What did you make of the goal?
Well, I've gone out and said that I think it was a fluke, and I've been virtually slapped by Neil and the guys that I had on the show, and they put me straight and said he meant it. So I think he meant it. And I think there was a worry, wasn't there? Again, the first half, it was all down the right hand side, so we were getting back to that little bit of predictable phase. Let's pass it, give it to Saka, let's see what he does. Just give it to him. And Martinelli was just there on his own. And then after 20 minutes, he literally just turned the afterburners on, activated beast mode, and he was unplayable. He was absolutely unplayable. Everything he did came off. Just looked absolutely dangerous. And fantastic play to take out those 2 Forest players. And then Eddie doing what Eddie does when he starts for us at the Emirates. He's got an amazing record. And perfect start. Because we just wanted to get our tails up and get our nose in front. First game of the season. And it was great. It was a great start, and especially for Eddie. Coming in again and scoring.
Yeah, and like you said, Ali McCoy was on the commentary over here, and I remember when I was a very, very young man when Dennis Bergkamp scored his goal at Newcastle, and he called Dennis Bergkamp's goal at Newcastle a fluke. But I think he's learned to shut his mouth now. He didn't he didn't say anything about the Martinelli trick at the weekend. But Melvyn, what did you make of the goal? I know, obviously, we're all Arsenal fans here, so we all loved it. But if you want to wax lyrical about Martinelli, go ahead.
Well, first the goal. It's one of those situations you don't think, did he mean it? You first think, did I see that correctly? Because it just didn't make sense what happened. How did that happen? Then you see it on the big screen again, and you appreciate what's really happened. But him in the first half, not only was he, as you say, put the burners on, was a great way of putting it. He did put the burners on going forward, but going back, Aurier, the ex-Spurs player, every time he got the ball and was moving forward, from nowhere, Roadrunner came and took the ball off him. Didn't foul, just caught up, took the ball, see you later. Every time. I mean, it was amazing, absolutely amazing. He had a half. It was just a wonder to watch. You actually forgot there was anyone else playing because my eyes were just fixated on him. He was on another level. He was like possessed. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And it's true what you say, though, Michael. I mean, we give the ball to Saka, and very rarely does he have a man close to him to give him a bit of support. He gets it, he waits, and he he goes, well, no one's coming, I'll have a go myself. It's too much of that. I want him to get a bit of support a bit quicker. I want to see White overlap. Well, he couldn't overlap on Saturday, but the Partey overlap as it would be on Saturday, or Odegaard coming close, giving him an option, even if you're not going to use him. Take the defender's mind elsewhere. And really, I don't think I actually realise how good that geezer is, because he has to take on 2 and 3 every time in about a 5-yard situation. And they want to chop him. They don't want to tackle him. They want to, because they know they can't. And he manages to come through. So the pair of them, it's fantastic. And we just got to support the both of them, both morally and also in support when they got the ball, because I don't think they get enough of that.
Sure, yeah, and I do agree with what you said, Michael, as well. I remember we were all talking on the WhatsApp, weren't we, where we were like, "Oh my God, do we realise that there's a left side of this pitch as well as a right side?" Because everything was just going primarily through Thomas Partey, Saka, and it was just like, "Come on, just switch it." And the minute we did switch, it was when we did score. But Neil, what about yourself? What did you? Obviously, you've liked Martinelli from the Fiorentina game where he ran and nearly scored the goal, so he's been your man per se. What did you make of the goal?
Fabulous. I think I've always said I think he's got the potential to become one of the best strikers in the world or best up front players in the world, and he's proving it. He's the one that made that comment that he trains and plays as if it's his last ever time to do it, and it shows on the pitch. The amount of energy he's got. I'm glad Melvyn talked about his tracking back. His defending from the top was amazing. Saka did it as well a couple of times where he lost the ball and he just won it back straight away. I mean, I love that. It's like it eases the pressure from those defensive midfielders and our defenders. You know, it just really does. And it keeps the ball going. It keeps it in transition, so to speak. But his energy levels are beyond, I don't know what they like. They're incredible. And to have that and Saka in the same team, hopefully they'll stay for life, because if they carry on at those levels, at an age already so young, they've got so many years ahead of them. And I hope that we just stick with them and, like the guy said, just to morally support them, get behind them and give them so much love. But that was no fluke for me. I mean, I know Michael was kind of saying, I'm not sure. But when I saw it on slow motion, at the time at the ground, you don't know. I mean, it's difficult at the ground, is it, Melvyn? You just don't know. Yeah. Even on the big screens, my eyesight is not great. But when I came back and watched it on Match of the Day, which we won't speak too much about, and I just saw it in slow motion, I thought, no, he's meant that. That's deliberate. But Nketiah, bless him, he still had a lot of work to do, and he finished it with aplomb. It was great. Yeah, all right, got a bit of deflection, but sorry, how many other great strikers do that? They do. You know, you got to make your luck a little bit. And I thought he moved away from the defender. He positioned himself so well and executed it brilliantly. So, you know, heart goes out to him too. Well done, Eddie. I'm pleased for him. But I'm wax lyrical about Martin, and you know that. He's my man.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's nice to actually have a long-form Arsenal discussion, because I think already my show's gone longer than our Match of the Day's analysis of the Arsenal game at the weekend went, wasn't it? Unbelievable. So they might as well just, the one where Gary Lineker obviously wasn't there anymore and they just showed it and didn't speak. That's what they're going to do. They're just going to show the Arsenal highlights and then just go to the next game and talk about it. They're not going to talk about us anymore for whatever reason.
They will.
I couldn't believe it.
That's when we get beat, James. Yeah,
that's the point. Yeah, that's a point. Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. But going on to our second goal, we've all said, again, in the WhatsApp group, we put in capital letters. Well, mainly me and Jack put in capital letters, numbers. And we did it a lot last season, because we knew if we were going to do anything last season, you had to get numbers from Martinelli and Bukayo Saka. And in one game, we've got a contender for assist of the season from one, and we've got a contender for goal of the season from the other. And you know what? I couldn't stand this player called Iron Robin, but he made a finish that become the Iron Robin-esque finish. Well, I'm going to say here on this podcast that it's going to be now called the Bukayo Saka-esque finish from now on. He's taken the mantle from Iron Robin. Neil, I'll go to you first this time. Again, it comes from a corner. It's the second phase. We're high up. Saliba, you're thinking, run back, son. He's like, no, I'm confident to take these players. He absolutely outmuscles, I think, their left back that was trying to run through. Lays it off to Saka. And then, like Melvyn said earlier, Saka's like, what do I do here? I'll screw it. I'll go by myself. I know I'm the man. I'll prove I'm the man. And then Matt Turner, he's probably done that to him in training for nearly a year and a half since he's been there. And he's like, I'll do it against you in a game now. What did you make, Neil?
Unbelievable. I mean, all right, I think we're very right to think too much is being played on the right, because it's all Saka. We've got to ease the pressure off him. But then he does that, and you think, well, okay, maybe that's why we are kind of focusing on the right a bit. But just going back again to the Martinelli goal, I think he was screaming at Odegaard about, give me some play here. I want to show you what I can do, and he did. So that was great. But Saka, Melvyn, you were saying about the positions and everyone out of place. But actually, the irony is both Saliba and Partey were involved in that build-up for that goal, and they were both down on that end. And I guess in that occasion, Saka was getting the support that he needed from both of them, and it was brilliant the way Saliba did what he did. He's just Saliba's just he's another one, isn't he? Oh my God, we'll talk about him maybe a little bit later. But Saka, that's his trademark goal, as you said, James. But I think that's one of his best, if not the best. I don't think there would have been a goalkeeper on the planet that could have got anywhere near that. It was just perfection, and that's what you need, don't you, to really break the hearts of a defence. Just really think, what can we do against this guy? What can we do? What can we do against this team? It's just unstoppable. And when he does something like that, that's why he gets chopped down and hacked down. And you know, protection is something that I really want to see more of from the referees for him this season, because it's annoying that, you know, he's like probably the best English player at the moment we've got, and he plays for England, I would say. And he doesn't get the protection like some of the others in the past have done. He just doesn't. And I want to see that more often from the referees. I really do, because I think you're right. That's the only way that the opposition can stop them. Just stop him just by chopping him down.
Yeah,
so,
you make a good you make a good point there, because you know, Mr. Harry's gone over to Germany now. So the best English player that plays in England is Bukayo Saka for me. Take the bias away, I still don't think there's anybody up there. I'd say next to him is probably Rashford, and I thought Rashford was terrible on Monday. He'd probably get better later on in the season, especially in the game against us. But hopefully, like you said, now Saka becomes that Premier League sort of star boy as well as the Arsenal star boy, and he does get protected more by the refs. Michael, what about yourself? What did you make of the goal, my friend?
Well, what can you say? It was like the goal that we scored a hat trick for England in the summer as well, didn't he? And there was a goal that was similar to that. Obviously, hit that on the volley, but yeah, he's just a perfect sort of person. You know, he embodies everything that we want from Arsenal in terms of what we've asked for years, which is people who represent the shirt, who know what it's about, and will give 100% and have a bit of, you know, flair and skill. You know, Melvyn will know, you know, Neil will know, you know, Rocky, you know, how he played. He was the same. He knew what it was about. He gave 110%. He was strong as anything. He was strong as an ox. Used to get kicked. People tried to do the same with him. He used to clatter him, but he was a strong boy. He can do everything. He defended as well. There were times when he played centre midfield, didn't he? A couple of times under George Graham, and he had to do a job there. Yeah, and Saka just seems like he's cut from the same cloth, and yeah, I think we've got the best two English players. You've got Declan Rice as well. I think he's up there of importance of what Gareth Southgate we bring to Gareth Southgate's team, when we'll talk about him probably later. But yeah, Saka, man. There's nothing more that you can say. You know, I mentioned the clip you sent to us on my show about when he embraced that guy who was, you know, when we won the Community Shield, and he hugged the guy. You know, didn't need to do that. You know, he could have just gave him a high five or whatever and just walked on. But he gave him a big hug, had a chat with him for a couple of seconds, and then he walked off. And like I said, just doing that, you know, that guy's going to remember that for the rest of his life. You know, he's going to remember it for the rest of his life. Just 5 seconds there, and that's the quality of the guy on and off the pitch. And yeah, we're so lucky to have him, and long may it continue, man. Because he's spoken recently about he wants to win titles with us. He wants to win Champions Leagues and stuff. So he's locked in, man. I don't think we've got to worry about him going anywhere as long as we're competing at the top. But yeah, amazing player.
Yeah, and just quick to touch on what you said as well. I think that at Wembley, obviously, he gets the redemption of scoring the penalty in the shootout when he had that terrible, you know, that he obviously missed the one against Italy at Wembley. So it's a big moment for him. And I think just as much as everybody else picked him up around him at that time, he saw that fan and obviously thought, I can make this guy, like you said, I can give this person a moment here that could pick him up. You know, obviously he had a disability. You don't know how bad or how ill he could be with that disability. And I think he's probably thinking, I can give this guy a moment that can pick him up, even if that's just for 5 minutes. And that, like you've said there, that 5 minutes would probably mean everything for the rest of that person's life. So yeah, it's great stuff from Saka. But Melvyn, the goal. What about you? You've seen some goals over your time at Arsenal. Where does this stand up?
Oh, right up there. I mean, I said to my son, I went, "Is this goal of the season?" When he had, you know what movement he's got. He drop the shoulder and comes inside, and you know what he's going to do, and you know that no one can stop him. And once he hit it, it was like all you're thinking about is is that net going to shudder? Because you can't follow the ball; it goes so quickly sometimes. And once you followed it a bit, and all of a sudden that was it. It was like a wonderful moment. I mean, they talk about it's worth the admission price. Certain things happen in football. That for me was worth the admission price. Just seeing that goal, it was wonderful. Scored also by a wonderful player that fans should and probably do truly love, because he ticks every single box. The way he talks, the way he handles it, like you say, Michael, on and off the pitch. I mean, he's a bit too nice on the pitch, I think. But that's enough, because Rocky used to give it a bit back. Great comparison you made, but Rocky quietly, not even that quietly, used to give it back. So they never came near him again, because he was a thick, solid guy, Rocky. I mean, he was fast, but he was solid, built like a real athlete. But this guy has got it all. I mean, he could be an ambassador for anybody. I mean, I reckon King Charles should be looking over his shoulder, because he could take over from him, I reckon. He's that good.
Yeah, it's a great point. It's a great point. And going into the second half, obviously, I don't know what was said at half time. It just seemed that we completely took our foot off the pedal. I mean, for me, there's one side in this league that can take their foot off the gas. And as much as I'd love to say it's us, it's not us quite yet. we can't. I wouldn't say it was disrespectful, but we can't do that against these sides. I think you have to go. They were there for the taking for me. I think if we went for the jugular, we'd have got those. Like Michael said earlier, I think we would have got those two extra goals possibly. But let's go into the negatives. The Forest goal comes from our corner. We get caught out, and Alanga, it's a great sprint from him, and that Awoni, whatever his name is, he was at Liverpool. They let him go. Obviously, Liverpool got a plethora of attackers, but I don't think he's going to be at Nottingham Forest for long. Every time I see him play, he's a very, very strong lad, and he always seems to score. But Melvyn, I'll go to you first this time. What did you think when that, obviously, did the nerves set in when it was made 2-1 that late, or did you think we'd see that out?
No, I was looking more at the clock than the pitch, to be honest with you.
With all the extra time now as well, you're double looking at it, aren't you? Yeah.
I mean, to go back to be critical about the goal, number one, we were talking during the game and we said Saka looks absolutely gone. He'd done all the running, done all the work. There was no reason why we couldn't swap him for somebody, and we didn't. And he was tracking back Saka, and you knew the guy was fast. But you knew Saka, if he was 100% fit, would even give the guy, just put him off a bit. He couldn't get near him. His legs just wouldn't carry him there. So I was frustrated with that. I was frustrated that I will have I know we shouldn't be negative, but I will be negative if I have to be. I thought Rice should have come across and read the situation. It was quite obvious that he wasn't going to catch him. And everyone, I think Rice and also White to a degree, had looking at the guy over his shoulder. But then once White knew where the guy was, he didn't get in front of the guy when the ball was crossed. So I thought, well, he's got to take a hell of a lot of blame as well. It was like everything went wrong that could have gone wrong. He took it well, don't get me wrong. The forward who scored was super. Is that the guy, James, that couldn't score for Forest and then at the end of the season scored a hatful?
He just went mad after the World Cup / Christmas. Yeah,
that's it. Well, yeah, he's not bad at all. You're right. I don't think he will be there after next Christmas. He'll probably pass his green.
They ended up buying Chris Wood because they thought he was terrible, and then they started to watch Chris Wood and went, actually, we'll go back to this guy.
Yeah, no, I was watching it, looking at the clock. I wasn't very confident. I mean, they nearly scored straight after they got their first one, didn't they? The guy just leant back a little bit, and it took it well over the bar. But listen, we've all been Arsenal supporters long enough to know that if anyone's going to give away a 2-0 lead when we're all over the other team, because we do it better than most. So I was worried, yeah.
That's very, very true. What about you, Michael? What did you make after? Were you panicking? Were you shaking? Was the sweats coming?
Yeah, I mean, it was a combination of so many things. I think we talked about it earlier on, that the effort that the players put in, especially the front six. I think a combination of maybe the delayed start, the start of the season, early season fitness, they're not 100%, even though they've gone through what they've gone through. I think the timber injury and maybe the reshuffle was an effect as well. And I just think a combination of that and I think a few of the players' legs are gone. Melvyn said, Saka, he wasn't running as effectively as he could. Rice as well. Rice looked like he was out on his feet in that bit there. You can see if you watch that goal back, he's treading like eggshells. And you compare that to someone like Trossard, who came on and showed that burst of speed and what he did. So I think the effort that we put in that first half, it was fantastic. But you could obviously it looked to me we gassed out a bit because we definitely dropped off after about an hour. And for me, the only negative I've got is that Arteta should have not seen that and had an injection from the bench. He should have brought on Trossard earlier. He should have brought on maybe even Vieira, because obviously we know his confidence is up. Maybe for Saka, and maybe have that control with the ball a little bit more. Maybe ESR, but he should have definitely made a change to just get the energy going again, because it definitely dropped off. And I think it was a combination of things. I just think that they put in so much work in the first half. We did have a couple of chances after that, but yeah, for me it was like again we're in control in a game at home. A lot like last season. There were a few games like that last season, and it turned into a basketball game at the end when we just didn't put it to bed. And we were lucky in some occasions. We got a couple more goals and we were fine. But this one we didn't, and that's the thing we need to sort out. But I think that will come with fitness. But yeah, I think it was a combination of things which resulted in what happened at the end.
Yeah, Neil, what about yourself, mate?
Yeah, I can only echo what's already been said. I think the lads have summed it up. For me personally, I think the Timber injury had quite an impact. I really do, because you could see that all the players were around him and they looked pretty devastated. So I think they already knew this wasn't good. Maybe even Timber said, this is bad. You yourself, you only know your own body, really, and maybe he even knew that this could be a season issue. But anyway. I just think that obviously the drop off was so tangible. It was like a game of two halves. We've got to stop. I mean, I'm not going to repeat what the guys said because they were completely right, but I just feel that what we need to do this season, which we didn't last season, is we should not be conceding so many goals at the Emirates. That's the first thing. That place has got to be a fortress. Yes, we were winning last season, but we were conceding. I want them to step above that now, go to the next level, and even keep the concessions as low as possible. Obviously we are going to leak some goals there, but some are so unnecessary against teams where you wouldn't expect to do that. So who knows? Maybe this Raya has come in and maybe he'll change things. I don't know, but you can't just always look at the goalkeeper. It's got to be the whole team that's got to put the effort in. The other thing is, if it is a fitness issue, I think a positive from that. I feel Declan Rice is probably one of the latest ones with regards to getting his fitness right up there out of all the squad, but he seems to be improving game by game for me. That's how I'm seeing it, and I think he's only going to get better. So he'll be fine, I think, very soon. But I just feel that you have to be attentive for the whole duration of the game, not half of it, not 75% of it. And Arteta, he seems to have a habit of bringing the subs on so late, and I don't know why. If he's experimented. He's got the players doing what he wanted to. We were 2-0 up. Now let's change it a little bit, and then see what we can do with the rest of the squad that we've got. And he's got some amazing players on that bench, and I don't know why they're not utilised. I think obviously Trossard for me would be a no-brainer. I think it was a good shout about Vieira, and Emma Smith-Rowe's another one. Why not? They're pacey, they're strong. Why don't you bring them on against a team that are going to be a bit more physical and a bit more hard to break? So, yeah, I think substitutions. I think he's got to get maybe a little bit more cuter with, and we've just got to be more tentative for the whole duration of the games going forward.
Go for it, Melvyn.
I thought this season, seeing as we've got 18, 20 very, very good players, not just 11 or 12 very good players, and also the intensity that we play, and we know we can't keep that up for 38 league games plus. I thought he would start making substitutions in the 60th minute instead of the 80th minute, like normal. I thought that would be a change. I would think it'd be quite a clever thing to do, because in their mind, now 60 minutes, I'm going for it. I might be one of these coming off, or he might tell him, I can do that 3 or 4 games on the trot. If you're playing players 80 minutes, at that intensity is a big difference for 60 minutes, both mentally and physically. So I was a bit disappointed with his non or late substitutions. Emil Smith-Rowe, he must be scratching somewhere on his body, thinking, what have I done? What have I? Because to me, I'm biased about him. I love him. To me, he's the guy that I want to go and watch every week. His movement, his first touch, his body position when he gets the ball, everything about him. And against a team like Forest, they wouldn't be able to attack us so much. They know if he gets the ball, he's going to run at them. So they have to have that in the back of their mind. He would be the perfect footballer to play against a Forest in that situation when they might be looking for a first or second goal. But it's so disappointing. There must be a reason he does it. Obviously, he knows more than all of us put together and a lot more. But it would make sensible to say, don't have to do it regimentally, but over the back of your mind, 60 minutes, I think I should be looking for a couple of changes here. We're on top. We can do this. We've got enough good players on the bench to change it around a bit. Keep the formation if you have to. Why not? It's been working. But he doesn't. He waits for the 80th minute sometimes and a bit later. And I think that's wrong. And I hope it doesn't prove to be another end of the season drop off.
Can I just quickly, reiterate what you said, Melvyn, about Emil Smith-Rowe? I just don't understand it. I think I've always said, and I'm never going to change my mind, when I saw Saka and Emil Smith-Rowe break through together, at the time, I actually thought Emil Smith-Rowe was ahead of Saka just a little bit. And I think if he hadn't had those injury problems, I think he's got the potential. I mean, it's very hard to get to the levels of Saka because for Saka, as Michael and you just beautifully described, it's not just his game. It's just him as a human being, just how he is all round. But I think as a football player, I think Emil Smith-Rowe could potentially be on a par or even better. I saw just that raw talent in him. And I can't understand. I mean, maybe he will. It's only first game. We're criticising on the first game. There's plenty of games to go. You've got 3 competitions other than the 37 more games we've got playing the Prem. So fine. But I don't want to have that fear in me and maybe other supporters as well, that the players like Trossard and Emil Smith-Rowe will think about maybe looking elsewhere if they don't get chances this season, because they're 2 exceptional talents which we just can't afford to let go. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think you make a great point. I think you guys have all made a good point as well in that obviously another negative is the Timber injury. I'm really, really gutted about that one. Looks as though, they've said potentially 7 months. I don't know. I know what this club's like. I remember the Derby was 2 weeks and then that become 5 years. It's just how we go. And I'll tell you what, the guy, Neil, I remember when we signed him, me and you spoke about, I think it was the interview that he did. I don't think it was with Arsenal directly. I believe it was definitely a journalist of some kind over here. And he said they asked him what his best qualities were. And he said it was his positioning, his calmness in, stressful situations, and obviously the versatility of the positions that he can play. But I'll add to it that another one of his qualities has got to be how bloody strong he is, because obviously he's done the injury in the first half. Obviously, you've seen the slow-mo one that's been shared on Twitter now. You actually see the impact. And you look at that and think, bloody hell, you're strong to even get up after that and carry on. He goes and has obviously the half-time. They've said they've done the tests. Obviously, Sky did the video today where they said, yes, they've seen the criticism, but they have followed all the medical protocol. Now, I'm not one to say that Arsenal lie, but I'll believe them on this, that everything was done correctly. And they said that he walked off the pitch of his own accord. They said he walked the next day, and it wasn't until they scanned it they saw the extent of the damage. So he must be one strong guy to have, a teared or a ruptured ACL and still be walking and everything. Yeah, how you doing, guys? Yeah, and I am really, really upset to lose this player just from the amount of positions that he could play. And you know what? A lot of people made the comparisons when we signed him to before obviously he went to Middlesbrough. If you remember Michael Reisiger when he was at Ajax and when he was at Barcelona, he was just so strong, yet he read the game so well. He was so good at shutting things down and stopping people. And yeah, Melvyn, I do agree with you about he needs to be cuter with the subs, because obviously one was forced, but then the other two, the one for Nketiah for Trossard, you're like, okay, that makes sense, taking off the 9, bringing on a false 9 type option, or you want to move Havertz up there. But then the Gabriel one for Martinelli just after they score, that's more of a get a defender on because I need to shut this game down. But he only used 3 of 5 subs. Like you said, Smith Rowe was there. He could have come on for Saka because, as well as offensively, I think Smith Rowe doesn't get appreciated enough for what he does in terms of winning the ball either high up or for tracking back. He's not lazy. I know he's injury prone per se, but when he's raring and he can go, he will do you a job defensively as well as offensively. And then even if you didn't want to do that, you could have got Kivior on as an extra, you could have put him as a fallback option if you wanted to. And you also had Jorginho there who, if you want to shut a game down, or you just want someone that's going to get the ball and tick it along so that you just dominate the ball, you've got Jorginho there to do that. So, yeah, I don't understand when you've got 5 subs, he only chose, his choice was to use the 3. Yeah. But touching on the new signings just quick, I thought Declan Rice, again, like you said, for the goal, I do agree with you, Melvyn. But I thought he had a good game. He had the 2 long shots. Obviously, he had the one in the first half, and you thought, he's playing in the 6. He's not in the Xhaka role, but he's gone for that Granit Xhaka. Is he going to be the new Granit Xhaka midfield long-range shooter? And then he had the one in the second half, which was actually set up by Havertz. And Havertz, for me, I thought he was fine. Havertz going to be judged on goals and or assists. I think he will start picking up assists. The goals, I think they might take time. But what did you guys make? What did you guys make of the new signings? I'll go obviously to you first, Melvyn. Obviously Timber, you can't really say too much because it was taken away from him. But what did you make of Havertz and Rice?
Well, we thought we'd just go back to Timber for a second.
They sound like an insurance broker, don't they, Havertz and Rice?
Yeah. Timber is one of those players that when he gets the ball, there's no one near him, and they can't, even when they get near him, they can't try and tackle him because he can go either way. He's like a 2-in-1 footballer. You haven't got a clue what he's going to do. I just get him back at the right time. I can't wait to get him back in that side. What a tragedy for everybody. It's just such a shame. But let's pass on him. Havertz. Well, I'm a bit upset we signed him because I can't say his name properly. But anyway,
you've done well there. You've done it right.
That's the best one I've done so far. So
you've probably done it better than one person does. So yeah,
James, keep that in, please. When you're there at the ground, you realise what he does. He's a very good reader of the game. He makes space for other players. Yes, some of the things he didn't come off, but I tell you something, he did a couple of balls that much away from being a defence splitting ball. He gives the impression that he's not trying, but that's not true. He's trying. He has got class, and he's bedding himself in a completely different team and a completely different position. So I saw Bergkamp play. I knew what Bergkamp can do before he came to the Arsenal, obviously, and people were slating him. When Henry, people were slating him. Pires, he's the famous one. Pires. Everyone, the geezer who used to sit next to me at Highbury said to me, Pires, he ain't as fast as Overmars. I don't like him. I said, he's a totally different player. Because I saw Pires play anyway before that as well. And I knew that he had, for France, a quality player. But these players are going to be good. And this one has got every chance of being good, especially the way we play the game. So I've got no problems with him at all. With Declan Rice, if I got a criticism of him, I'm joking, really. He was only in second gear. Come on. He's feeling his way. And he looks so good. He puts his foot in, he turns the ball, he pushes it to the side, he gets in positions, he makes himself available. He was getting a bit agitated. I don't know if you noticed that, Neil. When the ball wasn't going to the player it should be going, he was like acting a little bit like a captain. He was pointing like, give it to him, give it. But that he's around. He's got a presence about him. And we haven't seen the best of him. Nowhere near. But you can tell he's absolute quality. And that's what we needed. We needed a presence in midfield we haven't had for years. When you play away to Sheffield United on a cold night, you need someone like him to go, right, I'm here. What are you going to do? Because that is the type of player he is. He can play against the best, don't get me wrong, but he's also got that bit of steel in him. He's not nasty, but he's got that bit of steel in him and the presence. People know when they play against him that he's playing against you. So they've got in their mind they're playing against this geezer. Sometimes with our midfield, we're nice. It's very good our midfield, but you don't get the idea that perhaps Parsley to a degree, that there's anyone really there to take, to get hold of the game. This guy can. So here's the most amazing thing we've done for years. It's a statement. I know it's a statement, but it not only is a statement off the field. It's a statement on the field. This is what we've been crying out for. We've been when Arteta joined the Arsenal, and I've been critical of him for certain things, but you see where we are now to when he joined us, Arteta. The game before, we played Man City at home, and after about 10 minutes, they were 2-0 up, and Arteta was on the Man City bench. Why do you want to join us? He must have seen this is worse than a Tottenham job, really, at the time. You know, we've got so much to do. We haven't even got a foundation, let alone build a house. It was, and yet he took it, and look where we are. We've got the most amazing centre halves, which we haven't had for years. We've got players in every position that can do something with the ball. And now, at last, the last bit of what I call the jigsaw is the getting the midfielder in there to stop the other team playing and stop them. And that's where we are now. So I'm very happy with all of what I've seen.
Yeah, and I'll just touch as well where you say on the presence of Declan Rice. I know you can't abide him, Neil, but he did a great interview with Rio Ferdinand that was short form on TV over here, but they've released the actual full 12 minutes. So if you want, Neil, just skip the bit where Rio Ferdinand asked the questions and just go to where Rice answers it. That's what a lot of people have probably done. They're like, ignore what Rio says, watch the Rice bits. And he does talk about how I thought I was a good footballer until I come here. Because he's like, I'm learning day to day, and he went, I'm improving. Which again, you don't get people that honest. You know, there's a lot of young lads that would be like, no, I'm the big I am anyway. But he's openly admitted, like, what I thought I knew, I don't, because the level, as much as we're talking about how he's increased our level, I think he's increasing his level as a player, being around, obviously, no disrespect to West Ham, but he's around better players. And he's at a much bigger club, which again, sorry, but it's just fact. But yeah, Michael, what about you? What did you make of the new guys at the weekend? And then Neil, when Michael's done, if you want to touch on it yourself.
Yeah, echo what Melvyn said about Havertz. Just touching back, I remember when before Bergkamp's goal against Southampton, when he got his first 2 goals. I remember the Sun, or it was the Mirror. At the back page, they had a picture of a goal, and they had a picture of a ball, and they said, "Dennis, you got to put that in there." I don't know if you remember. They actually had that, and that's going way back for people watching. This is going way back. The disrespect our players and our club have had by the media. They were doing stuff like that way back then, and then he went and scored the 2 goals against Southampton. I'll never forget that. I was like, wow, they've done that to a player like him. And obviously, you could see that, like Melvyn said, I think he's a quality player. You know, Arteta and Edu are no mugs. They we look at the talent ID, look at what we've built since he's been there. Again, touching on what Melvyn said. So I think, yeah, it will take him some time, but I think his outputs will be there. He'll get goals, he'll get assists, he'll get pre-assists or whatever. You know, he'll do all of that. Timber, yeah. Devastating, absolutely devastating what's happened to him. It's almost like our defence is back to what it was now in terms of the bodies that we can call from. And he was the differentiator. He was the one that could play all across and took us to a different level. And now we're back to those set of players who we kind of relied on last season. We just hope that they can, pick up the mantle. And as for Rice, yeah. I'm still smiling when he gets the ball. I've got a smile on my face when I see him, because I'm thinking he's ours. You know, I can't believe he's ours still after all of that. He's exactly like Melvyn said. He's exactly what we wanted, exactly what we've needed, and it is a statement signing. For me, it reminds me of when we got Sol Campbell from them, because that was the key. That everyone knew he was a massive player in the Premier League. He was a massive player. And we got him, and the statement it sent to Ferguson at the time and Liverpool, the rest of them, said, look, we've got one of the most coveted players. Barcelona wanted him. He could have went to Barcelona. Everyone thought he was going to Barcelona. He did it. He came to us. We got him, and he's ours now. And the statement, it took us up a different level. Same with Rice. We all know who wanted him, and he's ours. He came to us, and the same thing's going to happen. I still can't believe that he's ours. It's early days. He's going to get better and better. Yeah, man, it's just happy days, and like Melvyn said, where we've come in terms of the level and the players that we've got. I'll cue this up for you, James. I know you've heard this before, but Mikel Arteta has got he's done Kurt Angle settings. He's basically done intensity integrity, intelligence. All the
Yeah,
players that
the
he's
three
got,
eyes, mate. The three eyes.
those players have got all of that. Every player in the squad now, they've got those three things. And long may it continue, man. That's what he's got. And we can't.
We just need the gold medals, Michael.
Yeah, we don't suck. We don't suck.
Exactly.
But the gold medals will be coming, mate. We got one last week, so we're going to get some more.
And Neil, what about you? What did you make of the insurance brokers in Havertz and Rice?
Yeah, it's brilliant. It sounds really good, doesn't it? It rings. It's great, bro. That's just great. I love it. I couldn't stop laughing.
Or a family solicitors, yeah.
It's great, isn't it? Perfect name for insurance brokers. Timber, I don't think I'm going to get over it for a long time. I just can't. We left the game winning and getting our first win of the season, 3 points. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't feel jubilant. Just didn't. Because even then, you felt that this is not good, a good injury. I agree with you, James. I think he's got so much about him. He's intelligent. He's strong. He's good. He will be good. He would have been good at duels. He would have opened things up. He would have darted forward when needed. He was basically a combination of a Tierney at his best, and I think a Zinchenko at his best, all in one package. And I think we would have been going, wow. We would have been doing podcasts and being wax lyrical about him. I will go as far as to say I think he would have been the signing of the season as well. I really do. And that's no disrespect to Rice and Havertz, none whatsoever, and even Raya now. But I just think there was something so special about the kid. I mean, where I was sitting, I think we were sitting in the same place, weren't we?
We were, yeah.
I was quite close, and I was watching him a lot because I wanted to see. And I just thought, look at this guy. I'm just so pleased he's with us. The way Michael was saying about Rice, so happy. And unfortunately, we've got to probably do with most, if not all, of the season without him, and we just got to move on. So I'll try and get over it, but at the moment I haven't. So that's a bit of a hangover with them. With Havertz and Rice, I think Rice, I think, is still a fan. He's still too enamored with the club. I think he's like, I can't believe I'm here. As much as we're saying we can't believe we've got him, I think he can't believe he's here because the way he's taken to this club, all the videos, he's literally, you can see, and if he's faking that, God, he needs an Oscar. Because he's genuinely dumbfounded. He's like looking at the training ground, looking at the dressing room, looking at all the pictures on the walls. He's like, oh my God, I'm at Arsenal. Look at this place. It's unreal. So I think it's taken him a bit of adjustment time. Not only his fitness levels, I think he's actually in awe of being and playing with this club. And it's a massive change. Again, no disrespect to West Ham, but this is a huge jump for him. And he will get better. I think you're right, Melvyn. He's in second gear. He hasn't come out of second gear yet. You wait till he starts really purring. And he is the meathead that we've been looking for so long. How many times have you guys heard, even on the early podcasts, that we're missing the meatheads? We're getting them now. We're a physical team. I wish Stoke, I don't wish they were still in the league, but if they were, we would be giving them some. I tell you, those orcs, we would say, yeah, you want to come on, Stella, try it now. Come on, bring it on. Because we've got those type of players. So Rice is there. And I think Havertz is still, we will see the Leverkusen Havertz soon. Just be patient with him. We will see it. At the moment, I think we've still got the Chelsea one. He's going to adapt very quickly. And I think it's a great player in him. And Arteta and Edu are too cute now and too smart to spend 65 million on a player, which they think that then he's not going to perform. They're not stupid. I really believe that we got a player in Havertz as well. He's going to do some good things. So hopefully Rice, Havertz and Raya will do some stuff for us that will kind of mitigate the loss of Timber a little bit and think, well, look at that. So let's hope so anyway.
Yeah, no, I think you make a great point on Timber that, again, mentioning my school days, you were always told, watch out for the quiet ones. And I think the way that Havertz and Rice has been such a loud sort of signings, everyone's just fixated on them. Timber just went under the radar and he's like, that's fine with me. I'll just do the work. And you get these people that are just appreciated on, work rate and work ethic. And yeah, I think, like you said, Neil, we're going to lose it. We've lost a massive component there of someone that you knew was going to give you at least a bit like Monreal back in the day. He was going to give you an 8 out of 10 as soon as you saw him there, just from, how hard he works. He might not be the sweetest or best, or sexy footballer going, but he does his job and he does his job bloody well. But back on the game just quick, and then we'll go into some other bits before we wrap up. Man of the match, I picked Gabriel Martinelli. What about you guys? Anyone agree, disagree?
I would. Sorry.
Yeah, agree.
I would have gone Martinelli stroke Saka. Yeah, I couldn't split them.
Martinelli, Saka, or cameo role Trossard. He was different gravy when he came on.
He nearly got it just for the run pass where he sprinted.
But even apart from that, he's a type of player. He's small, and you've got this big defender coming towards him, and it's not even a 50-50 ball. It's 40-60 against him, and he's going to get pushed off. And yet he gets the ball and runs around the. How did he do that? He shouldn't do it. The laws of physics wouldn't allow anyone to do that, but he manages to do it time and time again. I suppose over the first 45 minutes, you've got to give it to Martinelli because he was unplayable for that first half. So I suppose I've got to give it to him. I suppose, yeah.
Yeah. He done 86 minutes on the day, got one assist, 93% on his passing on the day, and 3 of them were key passes, so he could have got more than 1 assist, really, if we had the shooting boots on. But just quick, we have made a signing this week. I won't speculate on other signings because I'm not an Italian Chelsea fan, but here he is, David Raya. He's there, and he's holding up the number 1. Now, this bodes into the next question. How quick do you think it's going to be till he is the number 1?
If I
I think he starts Monday.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Wow. If you saw, Michael, you all saw it, I suppose, the reception him and his family got.
Yeah.
You don't do that for reserve, do you?
No.
That is for someone who we want to bring into the fold and be part of the team, the first team. Like a friend of mine said yesterday, we were chatting. He goes, after seeing that, he ain't going to sit on the bench for too long.
No,
not at all. And I think that if he does get in when he does play in the first team, he's going to take some shifting. He really is, because you'll see a different type of football. Because on the deck, he's unbelievable. His distribution is superb, and as good as Ramsdale's been, he's been fantastic. Yeah, he's still got a couple of things. You think, even on Saturday, he did one of those silly passes up through the penalty spot when he pushed it outside the box, and they nearly capitalised on it. You don't need that anymore. It's so, listen, it's the to win a game in the Premiership, it's fine lines, isn't it? Very fine lines. You can't give silly goals away. You've got to make the other team earn the goal. And Ramsdale will do for me the rest of the season. But then again, you get, someone offers you a steak, you go, yeah, I'll take a steak, and then, do you want a T-bone as well? Hold on a minute. I'll leave that one I'll go for something a little bit, a bit chunky or something. I've got a real hunger now. So it's difficult to go back that little bit of steak. It's a bit like that. We're so lucky, but we've got Ramsdale, who is, as I say, I'll take him all day long. Every game, fantastic. But then again, you've got an option, which could be a better option. So even if he doesn't pick him straight away, Michael, like you think he might do, Ramsdale now, with all the good PR he does here, there, and everywhere, he knows that he can't make foolish mistakes now. I'm not saying he did it purposely, but the back of his mind now is that little bit of doubt. No, make sure that pass is right. Let's not push it through the penalty spot. Make sure I don't do that unless I have to, which probably goalkeepers never have to. So I can't wait to see him in the goal, just to see a different thing as well, the way we play the game.
Neil?
Well, I love Ramsdale, so for me this is a hard one. Michael's saying he's starting on Monday. That's. Do you know what? The more and more I hear that now, Michael, from you, the more it makes sense. Only because from what Melvyn just said, but I thought the same. You don't do all of that stuff for someone who's a loanee. You don't. He's a permanent signing. I don't care what anyone says. He's a permanent signing. He's here for a long, long time. He's come under the tutelage of his former coach, is it? And so, already he feels at home. Arteta has made him and his granddad feel at home. I
was just about to say, if he's not permanent, you tell his granddad he's got to give that shirt back. It ain't happening, is it? It ain't happening.
There is no way on hell that he is a loan signing. He's not a loan signing.
No way.
There is no way. I know he's going to be great for us. That video showing his distribution skills. Oh my goodness me! What is that?
He could find me a girlfriend, Neil. He's that good. He's fantastic.
James, we've got a team of gods here. We've got a team of deities coming. We're going to be so great. I'm salivating at the thought of it. I mean, but yeah, look, I mean, Ramsdale, I love the guy, and I just hope. I want them both. I want them both. If there's such a thing, I know it break the mold. No top team has fielded like two top, number one goalkeepers. But maybe Arteta will have a way. Maybe there will be a way to keep them both happy. And if that's the case, well, bring it on. Then I don't mind seeing Rare on Monday. But it will be a little bit of a surprise. But don't forget the stuff that Ramsdale has done, which he's done very well.
Oh,
Some of the saves he's done. Let's not forget that just because we've got the T-bone in now. End of the day, Ramsdale is still a hell of a goalkeeper. And I love his attitude. And I love how he can rally the players and he can rally the dressing room. Let's not forget all of that. So I'm happy, but I don't want it to be the complete detriment of Ramsdale.
Melvyn, go ahead.
I was just going to say, while we're talking about it, you're saying, to play one game and one the next, you might do that. But I think if we were Manchester United, they'd let us play both goalkeepers the same game, wouldn't they?
Yeah. No, 100% agree. So just quick as well, we got a special one here today. This man, Theo Walcott, he announced his retirement. Happy retirement to Theo Walcott. I picked two moments here that were my favourites of his. It's obviously the goal in the FA Cup final versus Villa, and then him tormenting the Spurs fans when he come off injured. You guys, have you got a favourite Theo Walcott moment at all that's not on there? I mean, those are my two personal favourites. Are they the same, or have you got ones yourself? Obviously, I remember the goal he set up for Adebayor, and Adebayor celebrated on his own. Didn't thank him for running the length of the pitch to lay it on for him. He just was like, "Oh yeah, just I'm going to celebrate on my own."
I think a typical Walcott goal was, I think he scored it twice, 2 years running against Spurs at home.
Yeah,
he slotted the ball in. Once he had the ball at his feet, though he was at an angle, you thought he's got every chance here. He's he's actually going to score. He's actually going to, and he did. And it's you're just up in the air, aren't you, against Spurs, especially the two games we were behind in both, 2-0 down in one of them. So those are the things. And also, did he make that goal against AC Milan, the second goal for Adebayor as well? We were away.
I believe so. Yeah.
That was a great run as well.
Yeah.
And also the great run he done against Liverpool away when Arshavin.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't the greatest fan, but now I'm waxing lyrically about him. What's the matter with me? It's
I think he's
appreciates afterwards, isn't it?
No. I mean, he got. I think he got over 100 goals for us, and you got to appreciate that. But I still feel he's a huge what-if player. I think he could have been better than what he actually was.
Yeah, he was never a right winger, was he? He was a striker. He was a Michael Owen. If you'd have had him in the 4-4-2 with Giroud, you'd be having lots of fun. If you had him playing off Giroud, him winning knock-ons and knocking them around the corner, he would have scored. That partnership would have been insane. But obviously, Arsenal didn't want to play that. He moved away from that. I do remember the goal he scored. I can't remember who he scored it against, but it was in the Champions League away from home, and he ran the length of the pitch. I think we defended the corner, and we broke, and they just played it down the line to Theo, and he just ran. He paced.
Is it Zagreb?
I can't remember. Yeah, it might have been. Yeah. And he just ran all the way through, and he just slotted it. And it was so effortless, and it was like, Jesus Christ.
I think it was Zagreb because it was just after he got that hat trick against Croatia.
Yeah.
So they were like making, he's done the Croatians type thing. Yeah.
But yeah, good servant. Still a bit annoyed that he scored that goal for Southampton. He celebrated against us that time. That was a bit out of order when he came back first time. But yeah, he was a good pro. Shame he was injured all the time. Another one that was always injured.
Yeah. That one against Chelsea away from home when we beat, was it 5-3 when Van Persie got a hat trick?
Yeah.
Very nice goal.
I don't know how we got that because he was on the deck and suddenly got up and the Red Sea parted, didn't it? It was one of those. It was very weird. But, what a goal. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, Newcastle at home. Didn't when we beat them 7-3 or something? Did he score a hat trick or scored some silly goals that game as well?
Yeah, another one. He fell over, picked himself up, carried on and scored again.
That's it.
That's the one. Yeah. That's the one. I think he's been a great servant. I think he was unfortunate because everyone expected Thierry Henry 2.0. He had a lot of pressure, I think, and expectation on him mounted. He was sent to the World Cup and didn't feature by Swen, who hadn't even watched him play, which is ridiculous. I think all those things kind of didn't help him, didn't help his development. And but he still was a good servant. I mean, yeah, I think every season was saying, this is the season we're going to see Theo now. This is the season. Unfortunately, he never quite made the mark, but he had some wonderful moments. I remember one of his early moments where I think it was the League Cup final against Chelsea. We were running them ragged for half the game, and then he scored that goal and he looked at Thierry Henry in the stands. That's the one that sticks out. There's quite a few, but that's one I remember, because almost that was like, yeah, look, I'm trying to do you. I'm trying to be like you. But I think it was that expectation from him that was unfortunate. But he was a great servant. He's a lovely guy. He spoke so well, off the pitch. And he said some nice words. There was that tribute, wasn't there, about with Wenger? Did you guys see it, where all the players and ex-players were? And he was the one right at the end. And I don't know, I think he just called him boss or something. And I just like the fact that he was involved in that. And I think he's always going to be a gooner. But yeah, the Tottenham thing when he's on the stretcher doing the 2-0 to the fans, that's iconic. That's fantastic. Come on, Theo.
Yeah, and then also, it's a very special birthday, 46, but he still looks younger than me, Thierry Henry. And I've picked 2 special moments there for Thierry Henry as well, just quickly going around the panel of it. Were these your favourite Thierry Henry moments? Obviously, the goal and the iconic, it's a statue now against Spurs. And then that one there I picked. I know, Neil, you've got the kit behind you there. And obviously, we lost that final against Barcelona. But at the time, I was a young man and Real Madrid were the team. They were the Galacticos at that time in that era. And no English team had gone to the Bernabeu and beat them. And we did. And for Thierry Henry to score that goal away at the Bernabeu at that time, it felt important. I thought when that goal went in, I remember turning to my dad and saying, we're going to win the Champions League this year. He was telling me to calm down. He always does. And he was right in the end. But at that time, I went, Dad, we're going to win it. We're going to win it.
I think it was a travesty we didn't win it. It's a shame, because I think we were the best team never to win it. It's unfortunate, but yeah, and
he was robbed a Ballon d'Or as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what that goes without saying. That's ridiculous. He was the best striker in the world at his peak. He was. I don't care what anyone says.
Leave striker out of it. But he was at the time. He was the best player. Yeah.
Player. Sorry, that's what I meant. Player in the world. Yeah, without a doubt. I think we were the first at the Bernabeu. Weren't we the first English team to also win at the San Marino as well? I'm sure we were.
Yeah.
So we were doing things. We were doing some things. But Henry, oh my God, you can pick all his goals out and say they're your favourites. He never really scored a boring goal. They were all. I mean, that impudent back heel he did once. I mean, just the one against Man U in the top corner, the one against you showed the one against Spurs, which I love, but also the one against Liverpool when that was very important, that goal, because we'd just been knocked out of 2 cup competitions where we were on for a potential treble. And then we were losing 1-0 and 2-1 to Liverpool. And then he did that. And it's like, oh, my God. And he was like, I'm going to take this to Liverpool myself. And he did it. And he made all the defenders look stupid.
Yeah, Carragher still checks under his bed for him every night.
Yeah. I think I'm still going to say it. Even with all the other players we've seen now come and go, he's the best player to ever grace the Premiership for me, without a doubt.
100%.
Michael Melvyn?
Yeah. I'm echoing exactly what Neil said, but I like the stuff even where he sort of given a little bit back to players on the pitch, like when he did Danny Mills in the corner.
Oh
he lives rent free. Whenever he's talking about Arsenal, that's just going through his head every time like Danny Mills talks about Arsenal. And for me, one of the moments I loved about Henry was when we played Chelsea, when Mourinho came into town, and Mourinho said, he only scores against small teams. Thierry Henry only scores against small teams. And it's a massive game. And he scored an amazing goal after about a minute or a couple of minutes against Chelsea. And he runs towards the bench, and he's like slapping his chest. And he's looking at Mourinho. He's slapping his chest, and he's like saying, what are you going to say now? And he scored another one as well from that free kick. And again, looking over at the thing, and then he said at the end, in the press conference, in the thing, he said, I scored against small teams, so I scored 2 against Chelsea. So I don't know what he's going to say about that. And just that little spite he had, he's a bit like what Melvyn was saying with Rocastle. He gave it back as well. He picked up his occasional yellow cards because he gave it back to people. But yeah, an amazing player. So many goals you can pick out, man. That he did. But going back to that Real Madrid game. I still think, I don't know if you were there lucky to watch it at Highbury, but watching it, I watched that game at home, and I still think to this day that was the best 0-0 I've ever seen. Like, it was an unbelievable game. You had Zidane, you had Ronaldo, you had Roberto Carlos, you had Raul.
Beckham.
Jens Lehmann pulled off a couple of unbelievable saves, I remember. We had a couple of, it was just an unbelievable game of football, and it finished 0-0. It's like, how did this game finish 0-0? If you watch it, if you happen to watch it again, that game should have ended 5-5 or something like that.
I'll tell you something as well.
It's an unreal
Mike,
game.
Coming out of that game, bear in mind, like I said, young man, this is the the Galacticos of Real Madrid. Me and my dad both went, I'll tell you what, that Antonio Cassano, what a player. That night, Cassano for Real Madrid stood out over all of them. He was superb. He's another one whose career sadly got taken away from him early.
Yeah. You think he had all those players at Highbury at one time, and it was just an unbelievable game. I remember watching it, and even to now thinking some of the things that happened. And and Henry obviously was a difference, obviously over 2 legs, wasn't he? So unreal player. Like as Neil said, the best that's ever graced the Premier League. I don't care what anyone says. People talk about Haaland being the best striker and everything. That Henry was the best player, so he is therefore the best striker that's ever.
Just before Melvyn goes, sorry Melvyn, I just want to say, very touching on what Michael just said about that game at Highbury. That's the key at Highbury. We made a massive mistake playing Champions League at Wembley. Massive. I think if we'd played all those seasons, or I don't know, it was 2 seasons we did it. I can't remember. But if we'd played them at Highbury, I think we might have done better in that competition. We might have even won it one of those years, because we were so much better at Highbury, because Wembley for the away team wasn't an away game. It was an experience. Wow, we're at Wembley. If anything, they were probably at the advantage, not us. So I think that was a mistake. Anyway, I digress.
Melvyn, Thierry Henry, anything else to say?
Well, not only was he the most amazing footballer, but he was an entertainer. He entertained the crowd with his goal celebrations, with the way he moved the ball, the way he looked one way and kick it the other. He was doing all these little things. The way after he scored a goal, he went up to the crowd and was like nodding, "Yeah, I did that." All those type of things. It makes your blood go through your veins, doesn't it? It was wonderful. Now, I've got loads of goals that you can think about. It's too many, actually. But I was at the game, his first ever goal for us, away to Southampton, when we beat them 1-0. I was at that game. And again, he hadn't scored. And everyone's going, who is this French guy? I mean, who is he? And he scored that goal, and we went, oh, my God. You could see that all of a sudden, we've got someone here. Absolutely amazing. Also, the game home to Leeds, when he scored a hat-trick, was it? I think he scored 2 or 3 from the halfway line, didn't he?
He scored 4 goals against Leeds.
4, was it?
Yeah.
I switched off after 3. No, but it's amazing. Andy Grace made some comment like, this is, I can't remember the actual word. It was something like unbelievable, but it was a higher level than that. One of them, the left back or right back, tried to chop him. And as he came in to chop him, he still just slowly pushed it into the corner of the goal, past the keeper. I mean, his physique, his speed, he was strong. I mean, there's a big argument to be had, or debate to be had, Bergkamp or Henry. And it all depends what side of the bed you get out, in my opinion. It's very difficult. Very difficult.
Just wanted to say what Andy Gray said, because I have that ingrained in my head. He said, I've seen a lot of players in my time, but I've not seen a player like him.
Oh, that's it.
And he basically just said it that he was just said, I've seen them all. Yeah. I've not seen someone like that. And
that was so big because Andy Gray hated Arsenal. You could tell when he covered at that time. He could, him and Richard Keys still hate Arsenal now.
Yeah. I think everyone who hated Arsenal had to respect what Henry was doing. They had to. They had no choice to respect it. And I think it's ironic. We know we're talking about Havertz and Rice and settling in time and all of that. Bergkamp and Henry took a long time, and ironically, both their first goals came against Southampton. Strange.
Yeah, they're not in the league anymore, so God knows who's going to be. They're getting their goals against this time. We'll have to draw them in a cup, hopefully, and then see if we do it.
James,
just quick. Go on.
Sorry, apparently you played Luton today in a behind closed doors game. Do you hear about that?
Yeah, I saw that they won 3-0 and Raya started in goal for us. So he's already got a clean sheet.
He's starting Monday. He's starting Monday, mate.
Yeah. But just quickly talking about that on Monday, our next game, Crystal Palace away. I've got here what I normally do on Twitter. I thought, you know what, I do streams now. Bring it onto the stream. If you guys can make that out, I've used FuckWiz. I've used Futwiz to obviously make it. They don't have a Declan Rice Arsenal card on FIFA yet, so that's why I've used the England one. I am not putting his West Ham card in there. But yeah, so I've done Ramsdale in goal. I've got White at right back. I've put Saliba and Gabriel back together, especially after the interview that Arteta gave today where he said he's not selling him. I put Zinchenko back at left back. I think if he's going to be fit enough and he'll be there, then obviously Rice and Partey and Odegaard, no Havertz. And I've got Martinelli, Nketiah and Saka. I've gone for Nketiah because he scored, obviously, against Nottingham Forest. So I thought, he's on form, keep him in. But I would not begrudge him swapping him out for Trossard because I think Trossard is quality. But you guys, is there anything you changed to the lineup there? And then could I get a score prediction as well? I'll go to Mevlyn first. I'll let Neil decide on the lineup. I'll give you some time, Neil, because I know you hate lineup stuff. So I'll give you a few minutes, and I'll let Mevlyn and Michael go first.
Is it me? Sorry, I can't disagree with that. I mean, I would possibly change it a bit, but that's what I think Arteta will do. That's the team Arteta will pick, I believe. That's not the team I would particularly pick. So yeah, it's a good team, very good team. Confident to, we're going to do something. So no, I'll be happy with that. Even, if Arteta decides that's the team, yeah, fine, no problem at all. As long as he's quick enough with his subs, if things don't turn out like they should early doors.
Cool. And a score prediction, Melvin?
2-1 again to win.
Yeah. First scorer?
First scorer. Got to be Saka in it. Nice.
Michael?
Yeah, good team. I think in games like this, away from home, tough places to go. As Mel said earlier about going to a place like Sheffield United, we've got Everton soon away. Having a base of Rice and Partey is going to be, key. Then you can allow Odegaard to do what he wants to do as well with the other three. I think he probably will go with that. Get Gabriel back in and play a more sort of proper back four. Zinchenko's played today. I don't know what his fitness is like. I wouldn't be surprised if he chucks him in. He did it last season when we played against Chelsea. But yeah, I think that pretty much is the formation. I think he'll go with that. I'll go 2-1. I'll go 2-0 actually. I'll go 2-0 and Martinelli again because it just would be a repeat of last season. Isn't it? We won 2-0 when he scored the first goal. So yeah, I'll go with Martinelli 2-0.
Right, Neil. I've seen you've swapped places. You've sat down into a bigger seat now to do the lineup question. You took this really seriously.
It's fried my brain. That's right. Not that I've got much
big
of a brain
big boy chair for the big question. No, would you change anything? And then what's the score going to be? And who's your first scorer, mate?
I'll do the easy bit. The score, I think 2-1. I think it's going to be a tough game. I think it'll be 2-1. It'll be a tight game. But I think it'll be tight, but it'll be a professional performance from us. I'm hoping anyway. I think the formation, I like it, James, because it's more to what we were used to doing, and I hope it's not going to experiment too much. I think Michael could be on something. The goalkeeper could be slightly different, maybe. I still would want Trossard to play. He may not start, and probably won't, but if he does play, he needs to come on before 80 minutes. I want to see him get at least 30 minutes. I want him to come in early 60th, maybe late 50s minutes. I want him to get 30 minutes at least. So other than that, I think, yeah, he got it on. Spot on. I think it's a shame because a certain Timber would have been playing in that game, I think, if he wasn't injured.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go for saying nearly a full house. I'm going to go for 2-1 as well. But I'm going to go. Oh, Neil, you didn't say who was going to score first. Sorry.
Oh, I'll go with Saka again.
Nice. I'm going to go 2-1. Martin Odegaard. I'm going to. We're talking about the numbers earlier. I want Odegaard to get his numbers. Start it off from there and work on. Well, thank you very much, everybody. I've seen people dipping in and out in the views and what have you, and I want to thank all you guys as well for coming on for the first show. Nearly an hour and a half with friends. It can't get much better than that. Melvin,
Are we live? Are we live?
Yeah, we're live. We're live.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've done well, haven't I? I haven't swore or nothing. I've done really, really well.
Oh my god! Oh, hello everyone.
But yeah.
Oh my god! I didn't know we were live.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, live as well as live, but not lewd, as they say. Melvin, where can everybody find you if they want to hear more of your fantastic thoughts?
Well, I'm on the Arsenal show on Tuesday nights, but that may not happen next Tuesday because I'm guest of Michael's. So they start at 8, so I can get off early. I will. If not, I won't go on at all. So there's no point in that. But before we go, can I just say, this is a bit surreal for me with you three. I've been a big fan for, as you know, a long time, putting my stupid comments in, and you still want to talk to me. So
We're all fans of you, Melvyn. That's why.
No, but it's honestly, it's true. I said it's an honour, and it truly is, because this is a bucket list job. Thank you very much, James. Really enjoyed it.
You're so welcome, mate. Anytime.
And as I say, thanks very much. Great to see Neil again, and I'll speak to you soon. And looking forward to seeing you on Tuesday, Michael.
And then, Michael, where can everybody follow you? Obviously, you've got the Arsenal above all. If you're not watching that, then you're doing yourself a disservice. You got to be watching that. It's a weekly rotation. That is. Put it in there.
Thanks, mate. Shane Arteta, it can be done. It can be done. You know, if you've got a quality squad, you know, you can produce the numbers. Arsenal above all. It's been going for nearly coming up to a year. So yeah, appreciate all the support and from the appearances. Neil, yourself, and Melvyn is going to be on Tuesday, and all the other guys. It's just been a pleasure being on your reboot. Looking forward to hopefully appearing on a couple more. I've got the kids away early this time. I know it's school holidays, but I kicked him up to bed, got the missus out of the way. Said, I've got to get on a little bit early tonight, and she's, I'm probably going to get it in the neck when this is finishes.
Blame me and say that.
I'll do anything for you, mate. So
thank you. No, the card's in the mail. I'll send my apology and the flowers. Don't worry. And Neil, where can everybody follow you? You normally have a new Twitter account each week. So what's the one you're using at the moment?
I've already had two in my life. That's because stupid Twitter banned me. But yeah.
Elon's got the war with Zuckerberg at the moment, so you're all right at the moment. He's not coming for you right now. But
you just find me on when I'm lucky enough to be invited on by you guys. It's an honour to be on your show, your reboot show, as Michael said. So thank you so much, James. You can find me at the Purely Pod, Michael's Pod, Arsenal above all, and then sometimes I go on, Richard's pod as well. And yesterday I was lucky enough to go on Tom's pod. So there's a few. I'm about, if people can stomach my ugly mug, but and dulcet tones or whatever they're called. But it's just an honour to be here. And likewise, just echoing what Melvyn said, it's an honour to be with you guys, you esteemed Twitter and pod people. So it's a pleasure and an honour.
No, thank you, and thanks again for coming on, and thanks everybody that's been watching. Obviously, leave a like, leave a comment if you want to, and subscribe if you want to as well. Just another shout out quick before we finish. If you enjoyed the intro music, it's the same for the outro music, but it is One Stone, who is luckily my brother. He might not think he's lucky, but I certainly do. And you can follow him with koji.com/@L1Stone, and his music and everything. All these links will be up there. So thank you very much, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you soon.